So this year in May, we are getting Final Destination Bloodlines. It's technically the 6th movie in the franchise for Final Destination. Now, for those of you who have not seen Final Destination, I'm going to talk about my experience with the franchise and my thoughts, what I think about it. I'll definitely be getting into spoiler territory, so go ahead and watch the movies first if you have no idea. My recommendation is that 1, 2, and 3 are the good ones. 4 and 5 are honestly not that good. Ever since 4 and 5, I just have not been keeping up with the franchise. I thought it was pretty much over at this point, but it looks like they're bringing it back with Final Destination Bloodlines. Is this another cash grab? Another one to add to the list of bad Final Destination movies? Or is this one going to revive the franchise? I don't know what to think about the new movie yet. I am going to go see it, and in preparation to watch the new one, I did go ahead and rewatch the Final Destination movies. Now here's my thoughts on the franchise. First, let's start with the fact that Final Destination came out in the year 2000. I was about 7 years old when this movie came out, way too young to watch it, and I do remember this movie kind of freaking me out. Up until this point, the scary movies usually had a villain attached to them, right? You either had Chucky, you had Freddy Krueger, you had Jason, Michael Myers. You had some sort of villain in the movie that's causing all the mayhem. In this movie, there is no villain except death, an invisible force or being that's constantly stalking you, waiting for the perfect opportunity to cause a freak accident, and then you're dead. I thought this concept was interesting and a bit frightening because now as a kid, it's not that you're afraid of a certain person or object, you're just afraid of life in general because anything can go wrong, right? I can trip, fall, and die. I can get stabbed. I can get into an accident. So as a kid, that concept just kind of freaked me out. And the first time that I saw this, I was so young. I didn't pay attention to directors or anything like that. And I had completely forgotten that this movie was directed by James Wan. Yeah, that guy who makes really good horror movies. And I was pleasantly surprised because honestly, I actually enjoyed Final Destination. I think the first one was really well made. I just like the atmosphere he does, the characters, the setting, everything just seems like it just made for an entertaining watch for a horror movie. Now, the sequel was not directed by James Wan. It was actually directed by David R. Ellis. And I think he did a great job with the sequel, honestly, because the car accident one, it's just as iconic as the first one. And then James Wan comes back for number 3 for the roller coaster one, which honestly, I actually enjoyed that one as well. So 1, 2, and 3 were my favorite. After that, I don't think James Wan was a part of 4 or 5, and you can tell when watching them because they do feel like cash grabs. I know when 4 came out, there was the whole 3D gimmick. I went to the theater with my friends to go see it, being a big fan of 1, 2, and 3, and already at this point I was in high school, so I thought it'd be a good time. It turned out to be a crappy movie. I mean, we ended up laughing at it, but not for the right reasons. I just think it was just poorly made, and it just felt like a cash grab with the whole 3D gimmick. And then number 5 did not improve at all. It just kept getting cheesier and it just wasn't as good as 1, 2, and 3. However, I will say that number 5 did have that cool scene at the end credits that tied in to the first one. Like the way they did that airplane scene. If you've watched number 5, you know what I'm talking about. I thought that was really cool. And for a second there, I was kind of excited as where Final Destination is going, but that's it. It just kind of was a cool little scene at the end, but the rest of the movie was kind of forgettable. While rewatching 1, 2, and 3 though, I actually had a good time. They were actually fun movies to watch through, even on a rewatch. Now, of course, they're not perfect. Maybe there's some things that are a little over the top, but I think it does a good job navigating the humor and the seriousness of, trying to escape death. One thing I want to point out too while rewatching is Tony Todd. His inclusion in these movies were just something odd, but I always actually really liked it. I liked seeing his character on screen. I always got this idea that he was like death himself, like as a person, just kind of speaking to the characters, trying to give them a little advice on how to escape death or cheat death or whatever. That's just the theory. I don't think that's actually, what his character is. The way they present his character is very mysterious but really cool, so I really like that. And when I saw the trailer for Final Destination Bloodlines, I saw that Tony Todd will be in this one as well, which is really, really cool to see. Unfortunately, he did pass away. Rest in peace, Tony Todd. But I am glad he was at least able to get a little bit more screen time with another Final Destination movie because I always liked him in this role. As far as the franchise goes, again, I do like the feel of 1, 2, and 3. I think that the formula of someone having the premonition, saving a group of people, and then, the rest of the movie is just kind of like finding creative ways on how these people are getting into these like twisted accidents, right? That's part of why we tune in. I feel like as a franchise, that's part of why we tune in. We want to see what creative ways they've come up with. But again, 4 and 5 just lately felt a little bit cheesy, like not enough thought went into the deaths, and it it wasn't being taken as seriously as 1, 2, and 3. There's a way to navigate this series, like with humor and seriousness. You just have to like find that balance. And I think 4 and 5 are just too silly. In my opinion. Like, they're honestly forgettable. Like, I watched 4 and 5 and I already just forgot most of it. The only redeeming quality of 5, again, is the end credits, but 1, 2, and 3 just have this feel to it. Now, I could be biased and I could be talking about nostalgia, right? Because I grew up with 1, 2, and 3, right? I was a kid. I was actually like kind of afraid to watch these movies as a kid, but then as I grew older, I went back and I'm like, okay, these are actually pretty good movies. Like, they were pretty well done, you know what I mean? Especially like number 2, when I rewatched that car accident scene, I thought it was well made, and you can't argue that it is a little bit over the top, and I agree. It kind of feels like Michael Bay, right? Explosions everywhere, like cars just colliding and immediately exploding, and you know, all this stuff. But set that aside for a sec, I thought it was filmed pretty well. Like that log scene, like you can't tell me after watching that movie you didn't feel a certain way driving behind a log truck. If you're driving behind a log truck, you felt a certain way after watching that movie. Final Destination, right? The first one got people nervous to get on planes. And then Final Destination 2 comes out. Now people are nervous to drive behind log trucks, or just nervous of driving in general and getting into an accident. And then, of course, Final Destination 3 gets people afraid of getting on roller coasters or rides because they may malfunction and stuff like that. So I think that the way that the franchise plays into fear, afraid of things in life that can happen, they take that fear and they play with it, right? And make it a story in their next movie or whatever, the next premonition. So that's part of why I think Final Destination is entertaining, is because they took that concept and they try to run with it. Now, the only thing, though, is Final Destination Bloodlines gonna revive the franchise, bring it back, or is it gonna be the same old cash grab like 4 and 5? Based off of the trailer, I don't know. I'm trying not to watch any more trailers or footage because I just kind of want to go into it like completely like surprised, right? I don't want to know what the deaths are or anything like that. I want to find out the deaths when I'm actually watching the movie, not because I saw the trailer. So I'm trying not to watch any more footage, but based off of what I saw, it kind of does feel like, you know, a continuation of 4 and 5's style, right? It feels like that versus the style of 1, 2, and 3. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like the acting, the way it's filmed, you know, the way the shots are shown, it just feels more like 4 and 5. So that has me a little bit worried because I'm not the biggest fan of 4 and 5. If it turns out to be just like those and it is what it is, it'll just kind of like put it on the back burner and just forget about Final Destination. I hope it's decent though, that it sparks back curiosity and maybe brings back more well thought out movies in the franchise. But honestly, I don't know though, because you can only go for so long, right? You start to run out of ideas on how people can die in freak accidents, maybe. I don't know. Then again, I did used to watch this show back in the day called 1,000 Ways to Die or something like that on Spike TV. So there's definitely a lot of different ways to die. Very creative ways to die. You just gotta pick the right ones, I guess, for the movie. But I'm going to go ahead and see Final Destination Bloodlines when it does come out, and I'll let you guys know what I think about it. But comment down below what you guys think of Final Destination. Have you seen the movies? Which ones do you like? Do you not like them? Do you not care for this? Will you be seeing the new one? Comment down below. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on the franchise as a whole. But I'll catch you guys in the next one.